Over the years in my training for discipleship and consultation and coaching work, be it youth ministry or adult ministry or even kids ministry, looking at the topic of discipleship, a lot of the times there's this myth that needs to be broken down. Now, in a perfect world, when we look at this idea of discipleship or spiritual growth or just growth in life in general, that we know it isn't a straight line, that we know that you're not going to go from point A to point B, and it's not going to be a straight line. If you're in student ministry and you're watching this, you know this even that much more in the reality of some people. But even in adult ministry, even in kids ministry, and all these different areas, working with people in general, growth or seeing discipleship or mentoring somebody is not a straight line. You don't see from point A to point B. But here's the thing, a lot of the times we think to ourselves, we know it's not a straight line, it's this up and down trajectory, that you see people going up and they have these growths and then they have dips. And the reality is that the myth is that a lot of the times spiritual growth isn't even an up and down. This is something that when we're looking at this idea of discipleship or mentoring, any of these other ideas, this is one of the first things that I want to tackle with people, that it's not even this up and down. It actually looks something more like this. And maybe you're seeing this and you're realizing that, yeah, this is the reality. You might even be chuckling to yourself, because if you spend any time working with people in a discipleship or a mentoring capacity, small group, ministry, even any type of organization that you might be working with, that when you work alongside people, people are much more complex than an A to B, and even more complex than the up and down. And the thing is that when we're working with people or on our own journeys, that it rarely is a straight line. It rarely is even a trackable up or down. But life gets messy. And I think sometimes we need to recognize that on our own journey, on our own spiritual walk, on our own goals and moving forward and things like that, we're going to have times where it seems like we don't even know which way's up and which way's down in direction. And that's okay. Now, that doesn't mean we want to stay in that place. We do want to find direction. We want to gather people around us who are going to be able to give us wisdom and knowledge and direction and help guide us to these things and give us advice and all of that stuff. But the reality is that in most things in life, it isn't as simple as an A to a B, a straight line, or even an up and down. But in the messiness of life, that we find ourselves sometimes going in circles. And sometimes we need to go around in circles. Sometimes that whole process is something that's going to be teaching us or building us something, going to whatever that next stage is, to learning that thing, that we learn just as much through success, we learn just as much through failure and through frustration as we do success. There's this really odd passage in the beginning of the book of James that says this: consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds. If you were to stop there, you would think in our Western, very, cushy world that just doesn't make sense. But let's follow with the rest of James's thought. He says, consider it pure joy, my dear brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance, and perseverance must finish its work so that you may be complete, not lacking anything. And he continues, said, and if any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all, without finding fault. So if you're on this journey, and there are some days you're not sure what way you're going or which way is up, or it feels like you're going in circles, let me encourage you in this, that every single person who you've seen that seems to be further ahead of you have had those experiences, and maybe have needed to have those experiences. And maybe you're on this experience for a reason. But also find people who understand this idea and who can help you, not only in this moment, that are not going to rescue from this too early, but also help you to see and prepare for when this time is, to be able to use this and move forward. That we really need each other, and we do this in community. So if you're discouraged because you're going around in circles, know that life and our spiritual walk and discipleship and all of these things is never a straight line.